30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's turned into a very stormy Thursday in Nashville. If you're watching the show live, if you're driving, drive safely. Be careful. I have no idea what more is coming, but it's going to be a little crazy. Now, by the start of next week, we'll be back in our normal digs at the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. This has been a very hectic week. As you can imagine, big press conference out here on Tuesday, NHL draft stuff over the last 72 hours. It has been a wild time. So we're thrilled to be in a conference room. Let's see what's going on in the backdrop. We have forwards, we have the center ice, and we have blue lines. Boy, that's good stuff. So let's check in Murfreesboro real quickly. Kelly Holcomb was almost out of commission a few minutes ago, so you all got zapped pretty good, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm not going to promise anything either because our lights keep flickering. It kicked me off the internet, and my wife and my daughter had to get us back on. So, I'm not very technically sound when it comes to stuff like that. So they helped me get back on, but I'm not promising. I can't say that we're not going to go out again. It's still storming really bad here, so I feel like you, a meteorologist today, George.
Hang with us. If things go out, we'll make it all work out. In a moment, Terry McCormick from Main Street Media is going to join us with some devastating Tennessee Titans news. Then we will get you the draft information on what the Predators have done today in rounds 2 through 7. And then we will unveil our next sports speaker series that is going to be a doozy. I've already put it out on Twitter and Facebook, and the response has been massive. Thus, when you hear this, you need to react quickly because this one's going to be crazy. Now, let's get with Terry McCormick, who is celebrating the best moment of his New York Yankees season. Domingo Germán throwing a perfect game last night. Terry, let me just say that I think that will be the beginning of your highlight film for the year, since apparently you all are not going to be in the playoffs.
Well, we might scrape into the bottom of the playoff scene, but I don't expect us to go very far.
But by the way, Domingo Germán
was a jewel.
Yeah, 22nd perfect game in history?
24th, I think.
24th, okay.
Game in Major League history, 4th by a Yankee.
And he threw the perfect game against the Sacramento Bees.
Might as well.
I'm pretty sure that the Nashville Sounds would have put a better lineup on the field than the Oakland A's did.
Okay, now for what it is you cover for a living, the news today out of the Titans camp is devastating. It couldn't be worse. Terry, give us the details.
Well, right tackle Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, who was a rookie last season and was one of the few mainstays on the offensive line. He played in 16 of 17 games. He has been suspended under the NFL's gambling policy for the first 6 games of the season. Apparently, he placed some bets from the Titans facility, not on football or not on the NFL per se. And apparently the wagers were legal under Tennessee law in a statement that he released, but players are forbidden apparently from making wagers from the team facility, and he did so while on the premises. So the thing about that is this offensive line was already very suspect, very questionable. They had kind of revamped it a little bit in the offseason, drafting Peter Skoronsky, signing a couple of guys in free agency who had been backups elsewhere. And the loss of Petit Ferrer means that they've got to find out yet another player who can fill in at right tackle.
Terry, who are the most likely suspects?
There's several ways they can go here, George. Uh, Jalen Duncan, the 6th-round pick out of Maryland, would be a possibility to land there if he's ready. I think he was widely regarded as a project type of player, somebody that is not necessarily ready to jump right from the get-go and be an NFL starter. The other thing, and I think this is what they should strongly consider, would be to take Peter Skoronski, the 1st-round pick, who is a left tackle by trade or was in college. They've been playing him at left guard. I would shift him to left tackle, move Andre Dillard over to right tackle, and because he's been a backup type of guy, so you presume he could play some on the right, and then find a left guard from among Corey Levin, Jamarco Jones, Jordan Roos, some of these guys who are vying for backup spots. The other option would be to go out and sign somebody. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to sign a tackle, the pickings are very slim. You might wind up with another Dennis Daly type of disaster. So it might be easier to find a left guard because if you're going to slide a guard, maybe Brunskill or move Dillard over. Daniel Brunskill could play right. He's played there before as a backup. If you do that and find a right guard, it's probably you can protect a right guard or a left guard much easier than you can protect a tackle because those guys are on the edge. And at some point, they're going to be singled up and not have the tight end on their side unless you run 2 tight end all the time.
Terry, a couple of things come to mind here. First of all, if we're playing the DeAndre Hopkins watch, this can't do anything to help their chances. Not that I've ever thought they were going to sign him, but given the fact that it's one of the 2 places we know he's visited, when he sees this has got to be a black mark against them.
Yeah. And the thing that really makes it rough is this. If you have to go out and sign a tackle, even if it's not a starter, even if it's somebody that's just a depth piece, then that's going to take more money of the already tight salary cap that you have, money that may have been earmarked to go to DeAndre Hopkins. So maybe now you have to restructure 2 contracts instead of 1 in order to get DeAndre Hopkins in the building. So to me, this is a lose-lose situation for Titans because not only are they without a starter for the first 6 weeks of the season in a position group that's already very questionable, very suspect, and very unproven, but now they're going to have to go out and spend money to find somebody that probably is not going to be as good.
Okay, let me bring Kelly into this conversation. Kelly, it's apparent the National Football League does a lot of betting. Now, everybody, it can't
I told
happen.
you that.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we've all known this stuff goes on, but to be real about it, is it possible that the National Football League needs to amend what it's doing and say, okay, look, you can bet on whatever the hell you want to bet on as long as it's not the NFL?
That's kind of what I think, George. I mean, we all know it's taboo to bet on your own sport. We get that. Now, I don't think anybody was doing that, but like I've said it over and over the last couple of days. I'm sure people are tired of hearing me say it, but like gambling goes on. It went on when I was there. I remember walking into a locker room and guys were shooting craps when the media was in there. I'm not going to tell you what locker room, but like that stuff goes on. It's just I want to ask Terry this. I know that they're trying to crack down on this stuff, but has somebody come from the NFL, the NFLPA, and set these guys down in the team meeting room and told them, or is this just stuff just coming from the coach right now? Because I know that they spend all summer going around to all these training camps, and I know that the OTAs and all that stuff are going on, and they normally get in and visit with guys and tell them what's going on. But if this is which it's obviously turned into a bigger deal than they probably thought that was going on, have they actually sit down and talked to those guys and told them, hey, this is what you can and cannot do when it pertains to gambling?
Well, I think the league has kind of spat out that edict of what you can and can't do. They spelled it out a couple of weeks ago, but the Players Association has really not had much of a voice in this. And I think you're exactly right. the representatives of the NFLPA, they need to get a backbone. They need to get these players, every team. They need to get everybody in a room at every team's camp and say, this is what you can do. This is what you cannot do. This is where we think that we can fight this and defend you. This is where we have no defense for you. Spell it out in black and white.
Spell it out in black and white, because people, the guys, like, they can hear it from the coach, but they've been listening to stuff from the coach for a while, and sometimes that falls on deaf ears when you've got people that are talking about it. And I can remember when they were talking about the IRS to us a long time ago, and they said, hey, the IRS is a grown-ass man, and you do not want to get into a battle with them. If they're taking this gambling stuff like that, guys will sit there and listen, but you've got to tell them exactly, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can do this. But they need to sit down in a room and listen, because you're going to hear more and more about it, George. It's crazy, because this is going to have a huge impact on the Titans. This is going to have a huge impact on the Colts. It's going to have a huge impact on the Lions. There's going to be more of this stuff too if they don't actually sit these guys down and tell them what they can and cannot do.
Here is where you will get change. The first time a starting quarterback gets nailed.
Yep. That's exactly right. You got to have some high-profile guy, and that's sad to say, but you got to have some high-profile guy that's a quarterback or that's a running that's high-profile, that's a big celebrity that gets in trouble, and then they'll start revisiting this, because you can't have those guys off the field. You can't suspend those guys for 6 games. They're getting paid the money. That's who people come to watch, and that could probably remedy it. That's for sure.
That is when the stuff will hit the fan. Terry, anything else you want to leave us with on it?
Well, I don't mean to open up the can of worms here, but the NFL really is talking out of both sides of its mouth when it levies these suspensions like that. And I get that you don't want anything to jeopardize the integrity of the game. But at the same time, they're now taking billions of dollars from all these wagering firms and things like that. They've gotten chummy with Las Vegas, putting a franchise there, probably going to be a Super Bowl there. All those sorts of things going on. To me, it's really a slippery slope. And the NFL, I don't know how heavy-handed they can come off in this when they have partnerships and all with a lot of the people that are behind all this in terms of providing the opportunity to wager.
No, I'll say it for you. It's two-faced and phony as hell. Simply put. Yeah.
Money. It's all
Terry,
about money.
Thank you as always. Congratulations to Domingo Herman. That will be the highlight of your season. Which will end about October the 1st. My teams will probably end about 5 days later.
Terry, don't let him talk to you like that. You cannot let George talk to you like that, Terry.
I'm going to laugh when the Cincinnati Reds eliminate him in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, you'd love it. Terry, take care.
See you, brother.
See ya.
Terry McCormick from Main Street Media joining us. The other big piece of news, the NHL draft. Let's find out what the Predators have done today at Bridgestone Arena. David, what do you got for us?
We're not going to revisit last night, or we're just rolling with today.
Oh, go ahead and revisit, although Mark McGee is going to join us here at 2:40.
What a night last night, George. You were there. What a spectacle.
Yeah, it was
awesome
incredible.
To have the draft here in Nashville. No surprise at number 1. Connor Bedard going number 1 to the Blackhawks. Leo Carlson going number 2 to Anaheim. And Adam Fantinelli going to Columbus at 3. Nashville at 15. Matthew Wood, a right winger from UConn. Interested to see and talk to McGee about what the plans for him moving forward. I've heard that he's going to go back to college to UConn to play. And then at 24, Tanner Molendijk, a defenseman from the WHL. So that was last night. Today, the Predators, Poyle came out this morning and said, we're going to make some moves today. And Trotz has said that as well. Who knows? First, right away, they made a trade to move up to 43 with the Red Wings. They traded number 47 and number 147 overall to move up and get Felix Nielsen, a center from Sweden. Move right along. They were picked 46 in the second round as well. Cannon Lind from the WHL. He's a left winger as well. Third round, Dylan McKinnon, a defenseman from Halifax. And then Jesse Kingsman a right winger. So
yeah, and let me say this: I'm
lot
not
of
going to
names,
pretend to
yeah.
try to tell you
all these names.
whether these people are any good or not. I haven't got a clue.
They were busy today, George, and they said they were going to do some maneuvering around, trading some picks. Obviously, we have not heard any news about Matt Duchene, so he's still a Predator as of now. Will that change moving forward? Absolutely. But for now, George, we're going to move on to free agency.
Yeah, we'll see. And Barry Trotz is going to have a busy weekend. We ran into him yesterday, and I got all over him because I had told him a week ago, Barry, I'm going to Cincinnati to see the Braves and the Reds. Do not make any trades while I'm gone. So, Kelly, what did he do?
Hey, you traded somebody. That shows you how much
While
you
I was
concern
gone.
him, George. It really shows you how much he's concerned about your feelings.
Yes. No, listen, he's going to do a great job, and he should not give two hoots about my feelings. Was that a lightning strike?
We're flickering.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Oh, there's flicker number 2.
Kelly, you're sending it our way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'm going to release now what I've already done on social media, and that is our 3rd sports speaker series presented by Wilson Bank and Trust, and this one is going to be a doozy. I will tell you up front that I've been thinking about this one for months, knowing that SEC football media days would start on Monday, July the 17th. I knew that we could get a great panel in what I'm calling College Football Legends Night. Former University of Tennessee football coach Philip Fulmer, former Vanderbilt football coach and a co-host on this show, Watson Brown, former Ole Miss and Duke football coach David Cutcliffe, and the man that I believe is the single foremost authority in Southern college football, Tony Barnhart. Very excited about this. And apparently a bunch of you all are as well, because I have already gotten a ton of requests for ticketing to this. It's a free event, free, which rhymes with me. You got that, Kelly?
If it's free, give me 3.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, we're going to do it at 5 o'clock on that Sunday afternoon, July the 16th, out here at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. If you want dinner, it's available. You can buy it, but you don't have to. So we're going to get into everything, kind of a state of the union of a sport we all dearly love, and that is college football. Now, if you know you want to come to this, don't wait, because I'll tell you, I have over 50 signups already. We're going to have by far the biggest crowd we've ever had for one of these. Go ahead and email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. If you want to come to the event, tell me how many seats you need, whether it's 1 or 4 or 10. Just let me know. I'll get you on the list. You're going to hear this a lot over the next 2.5 weeks. Pretty excited about this.
George, that's pretty amazing, man. I got to give it to you. I bust your chops all the time and mess with your clothing, but like some of the guests you get on here is amazing. And that right there, I was talking to somebody who's a state senator. I know you know who Jim Tracy is.
Oh, and, sure.
Yeah, Jim's wanting to come. I already told him what was going on, and he
guess what?
He wants to get a ticket, man.
I'm putting him on the list. Are you coming?
I may come to that, man.
Why don't you bring him?
You got to bring the family, Kelly. Come on.
Yeah, the family's not coming, man.
They're
my football days. They had enough football. Now my son's still playing, but they had enough football back in the day. You could not get my wife to do something like that anymore. She had to go to so many events and so many ball games that she is not doing that stuff anymore. I can promise. But that lineup you got, George, is quite remarkable, and it's amazing that you know those guys. It was fun talking to David Cutcliffe a couple of weeks ago. I enjoyed talking with him. Yeah, and then you got Tony Barnhart, who's, you're right. There's nobody in Southeastern Conference football or in the South that can talk about football like he can. It's pretty amazing. Then you got Coach Fulmer and Coach Watson Brown, which is I just marvel at you sometimes. I hate saying that on air. I really do. But
Then don't.
I really
You
do.
got to rip him later, though, Kelly. You got to even it out.
Oh, I'll get him some way. I'm sure he's still wearing. Is that the shirt you wore yesterday, George?
No, it is not.
Good
God.
gracious.
Okay, let's go to the break. We're going to learn a little bit more when we come back about all this attention that Tennessee State University has gotten nationally today on a bunch of the ESPN shows. TSU is going to be a hockey school. We will learn more when we come back. Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, and who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Okay, we are back, And in a moment, Nick Guerrero from Tennessee State University is going to join us. And as soon as I get the signal, we'll put him on here. The announcement was made yesterday. We released it on Tuesday that TSU is about to be the first HBCU school. Almost got the acronym screwed up. Either way, they're going to be the first predominantly African-American school that will house hockey. This is an initiative between the NHL, the Preds, the school. It's a pretty amazing undertaking. So as soon as I get the go-ahead here, I believe Nick Guerrero is with us. Nick, how are you?
What's up, George? How are you today?
Doing good. So tell me how all this started.
Well, this started 2021, we'll say, when Sean Henry and Dr. Glover worked on the campaign for $1 million. And it kind of just got started from there a little bit. And Dr. Glover, president of Tennessee State University, had received a call from a student saying, I really wish that there was an opportunity for, young men, young women that look like me to be able to play the game of hockey. And, Dr. Glover, thinking outside the box in a non-traditional, world sometimes, kind of said, well, what if we as Tennessee State University did this? What if we went into this venture? What if we found a way to be the first and to be the pioneers? And that's when Dr. McGee Allen got brought on as director of athletics for, getting away from like the post-pandemic side. And a feasibility study was put together by the National Hockey League and the NHL Players Association in conjunction with College Hockey Inc. and Mike Snee, who does a great job kind of monitoring the college hockey space. And then it just kind of took off from there. Last year in 22, the night before the outdoor game between the Preds and Lights, the NHL Black Hockey History Tour bus came on campus in Hale Stadium. It had a great success. A lot of our coaches and student athletes and administrators got to learn about the sport of hockey and, how the sport of hockey, the current sport, actually comes from what is the old Black Hockey League out in Nova Scotia. And there's a book by the Frost brothers, and there's actually a movie coming out in July called Black Ice, which talks about how their adaptation of hockey is what we currently see today with the curved sticks, blocking shots. George, you remember back in the day with the flat wood sticks, they actually played with curved sticks like we see in the current NHL right now. And then from there, it really just kind of sat through a lot of meetings, and with myself, Dr. Allen, Kevin Westgarth from the NHL. Westy used to played 10 seasons in the league. And then there was a lot of folks, the Sean Henrys of the world, Bill Wickets from the Preds organization, and some friends from the outside world. Anson Carter played for the league for quite a while. Now he's a studio analyst with TNT. So him and I have a great relationship for quite a while. And, him and I have talked about this, almost ad nauseum about, okay, how do we get this done? How do we get this done? How do we get this done? And about a couple weeks ago, it was, here's the green light, let's do it. And what better way to do it than on the 23rd hour leading into the NHL draft, where in Nashville, Connor Bedard gets number 1 pick to Chicago, and everyone on all the media members are getting ready for the draft. And now they're seeing there's this small press conference, which turned into a rather large press conference in the media room at Bridgestone yesterday.
So tell me, because obviously you're the media relations director at Tennessee State, what has been the reaction since then?
I will say that I'm gonna look at my phone records, at the end of the month. But I would say when Ryan Clark, who is a hockey reporter based out of Seattle, broke the news on Tuesday after I sent out the media advisory around 10 o'clock, it exploded. And I say it exploded. It had over 1 million views on Twitter, this one person's tweet, which all it said was, hey, apologies if people know about this, but hey, here's this media advisory. And George, you've been around long enough. media advisories getting leaked are one thing, but then to post the media advisory, on social media is another thing. I've seen nothing but positive responses from not only our fan base, but from people in other parts of the U.S. and Canada. Like I said, my phone hasn't stopped ringing. I got a call from Al Jazeera TV at 6 a.m. yesterday, and I'm waking up going, did I do something wrong? Like, what's going on, everyone? And then to kind of like sit back and realize, oh, this hockey thing is ready to take off. We've heard from, like I said, CNN, Al Jazeera TV, CBS. Dr. Allen started off yesterday with taping the 6 p.m. Sports Center. We taped it in the morning. And then, we did NHL Network yesterday during the draft. I think around the 15th pick, they talked about it for a while. And, George, I know you were in the draft room yesterday. And Dr. Allen and I were kind of standing off when we saw it. And the whole media contingent just went hush and watched this as Buchagras and then Kevin Weeks and the guys up on the dais for ESPN were explaining what happened. And Dr. Allen and I kind of looked at each other and said, I think we just broke the sports world.
Wow. Amazing. Kelly, say hello to Nick Guerrero. I almost took his email thing and gave him a new last name.
Nick, how you doing? How you doing? So let me ask you this. Like, my thoughts come to, and I know y'all have probably already done all this, but my thoughts come to the money aspect. Like, how much money does it take to start a program like that, with the expenses of traveling, with getting a team together, with getting the coaching staff? I mean, I know that y'all, and you're probably in the first stages of this, but like, that was the first thing I thought about when I heard George talking about at TSU doing a hockey team, was expenses. How is that going to work?
Yeah, well, the short answer is a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So it's the level to kind of build this up. I mean, I almost look at it like it's like baseball, right? You got, instead of starting, moving Oakland to Vegas, we're just going to go to Vegas and start like a single A ball club, right? Like, we're going to go very basic, very small market to get started. With a club hockey team, there are no athletic scholarships, and part of the student fees will go towards the team. So that's a good part when it's a club team compared to a varsity NCAA sanctioned team. But it's outside of that, we're working with the Predators and the NHL to try and get some seed money together for that. I hate being the guy to solicit, but we have on our website, we're looking for donations from businesses and sponsors and stuff like that. At the beginning, it's going to be, and George, I said this to you yesterday, it's literally going to be me walking around with the hat saying, money for hockey, money for hockey. But I think that's how you've seen it happen, and schools like Penn State, Arizona State, Lindenwood, which is in the OVC, which we compete in for on basketball and the football side. They did the same thing. They start out as a club level program, and then they move up to the varsity, which would be the Division I side. I think ballpark number probably close to about $500,000.
Wow.
Get started.
That was the first thing I thought about. So with that being said, like, you gotta have a coach, you're going to have a staff. How many more people do you think will have to come on in the athletic facility of people that actually know the game of hockey? How many people will you have to add in the TSU athletic facility?
Yeah. So right now it's just me.
Yeah.
Playing dual roles.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to start bringing on a director of hockey ops position, just like you'd see a DFO or DOBO in basketball, right? Someone who's going to, help with the recruiting, help with working with financial aid for the university, especially since there are no athletic scholarships. All of the students that are going to come to Tennessee State are going to have to, pay tuition or be able to receive, academic scholarships. So that's kind of step one. Then we're going to look at it. Obviously, we've got a full calendar year to kind of get it all together. But then that's when the coach comes in. So, a couple options that we've talked about is whoever we bring in this fundraising operations role, that individual may have coaching experience. That individual may have coached, may have worked, as a business guy from 9 to 5, but then coaches, an AAU style elite team at night, or on the weekends. So someone who's got that ability. I will say I have gotten phone calls from people that are high level college hockey and NHL folks that have asked me, so what are you looking for? Like, does this person need to work in the office every day? Is this person, is this someone who is going to be on a contract consultant type basis? One of the things I'm also going to do when we sit down as a group again is kind of take the model essentially, and a lot of people in Nashville may understand this, but, kind of what Vanderbilt did with their volleyball program. They're not starting volleyball for 2 years, but they hired a head coach essentially to get them going just from day one of that program. So I think it's really just going to depend number one, who's interested in it, and number two, once we get that financial backing, how that'll help us to alleviate some costs and to be able to put a team on ice. Like I said, with the partnership with the Preds, the partnership with the NHL Players Association, and with the new Players Coalition that was also announced on Tuesday. I'll be honest, we're going to ask some friends for help. There's a lot of minority hockey players, brown and black hockey players from the U.S. and Canada. They've said to me, I wish I had this when I was a kid. Okay, well, now you can make your charitable donation essentially to make this come to life.
Well, that's some exciting stuff, man. Congratulations. I can't imagine I know you wanted this, but there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot being thrown on your shoulders. It sounds like you're getting some pretty good help, but yeah, that's some exciting times, and that's some waters that I'm sure that you haven't traveled yet, but you're about to go down them.
Yeah, I think, I say one of the good things when Dr. Allen and Dr. Glover brought me on, I've worked in college hockey before. I've done some stuff on the pro side for a little bit as well. So I understand the lay of the land in that sense. The one thing I haven't done is built it from the ground up, essentially. And that's what this is going to be. But, Dr. Allen, before he was the athletic director at Tennessee State, he was in development at University of Tennessee where he played in Knoxville. So he has a wealth of knowledge on how to, sit and talk with people and get that, get the word out and do those asks. For me, I just speak the language of the sport, so I can connect with a lot of people that way. And I think with his brain and my understanding of the game, we'll be able to put together a good comprehensive package that not only players, fans, alums, and George, you've been around the North Nashville area a lot. Tennessee State fans, they eat, breathe, and sleep football and basketball, and to get them now to understand a new sport is going to be a challenge. But we've seen on social media, a lot of our fan base has kind of joked about how you go to a football game or a basketball game at Tennessee State and it's a fashion show, right? Well, bring back the fur coats. People are putting things on Instagram, putting photos on Instagram of how can they have a fashion show at a hockey game. So a lot of our fans, like I said, are jumping for this. People are asking, how can we buy gear? How can we buy jerseys? How can we buy T-shirts? So a lot of those things are going to start happening, day 3, day 4, day 5 of the process. Not many people have kind of, slapped us on the back of the head per se.
This is exciting stuff, Nick. I appreciate your taking the time on kind of short notice to do this. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Thanks, George.
Nick Guerrero, he's got his hands full. He will have his hand out looking for money. It's exciting. It's also a difficult challenge, but you know what? That's part of what sports is all about.
Yeah, I can imagine that, George. How many club do you know how many club teams are around the area here? Like, would you have a clue? Like, how far are they going to have to travel? That's a lot of expense that they're going to have to do.
I know Vandy's had a club team because I watched them play Tennessee here a couple of years ago. I really don't know the answer to it.
Wow.
Gee might, though. Mark McGee will join us after the break. We'll talk about the Predator draft picks and what he thinks is coming in the next few days. Let's talk Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. Not only have tickets been available now for about 6 weeks, but within the last few days, single-day tickets are available. So if you need to know more and you're getting interested, you see the dates at the bottom of the screen. Go to musiccitygp.com. That is musiccitygp.com. They'll have ticket ranges from general admission all the way up to ticket pricing with huge amenities. The music is there. Great racing is there. It'll be a weekend we won't soon forget. Stay tuned. Mark McGee to talk some Preds hockey when we come back.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
We're back. Our Preds hockey expert, Mark McGee, has been a busy man this week, and he joins us by phone. Guy, the way I understand it, the young man from UConn who was the Predators' first draft pick is likely to go back to college. And I guess that caught me by surprise, and maybe it's just me being an idiot, but I guess
it's just that a lot of times that happens. The player goes back for another year. He was the youngest player in the NCAA Division I this year, so it wouldn't hurt for him to go back for another year for sure.
So, is there anybody that they have drafted in your mind that could be on this roster to start next season?
No. I don't think so. But before I get too deep, I want to talk about what happened the last pick.
Okay.
New Jersey had the last pick, and Tom Fitzgerald said, "I want to be part of David Poyle's last trade." So the Predators traded the 2024 seventh-round pick to New Jersey to pick 218, the last pick of the draft.
I love it.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Fitzgerald said, "I want to be part of his last trade." And so that's what they did. And actually, the guy they got could be the next Patrick Hornquist. Hornquist was number 230 in 2005. He was the last pick. This guy named Aiden Fink that they got. He led Canada's junior A circuit last year. Best forward MVP from Calgary. So he's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of energy. Likes to set the pace of a play according to the scouting report. He's undersized at 5'9". He could be. I mean, it wasn't a far-fetched pick for them to pick this guy. So I mean, he's the Mr. Insignificant at 218, but the last guy. But it could be a nice gift that Tom gave to David, not just giving him a chance to have the last trade of his career and the last draft part of the day, but it may be a player that he could be a surprise guy later on.
I love it. Tom Fitzgerald was once the captain of the Predators.
First captain.
Yeah, and
first captain.
He and I did a radio show together, and I always called him, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." He's turned out to be a very good general manager in the NHL. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw that in early. So about Paul and Fitzgerald, I thought that was a great story.
Okay, let's get to now the bottom line. Free agency is coming. Matt Duchene is still a Predator. Number one, is there still a chance to get rid of him?
I think so. I mean, they've still got one of those slots left where they can help pay for somebody's salary. You can do 3. The Predators have 2, and that they've done already, so they could do that with him. But it'll be interesting to see what comes up. Free agency's not that great this year. A lot of people aren't really it was a great draft, but free agency's not really. Nobody's really looking at free agency like, oh well, there's a lot of people out there or anything like that. So I don't know how that would work out. But maybe they work out a trade with someone just in general to get Duchene out of there. And so they may have to throw in a player or a prospect or two to do that. But but hopefully they could get somebody better to come in from that standpoint. But I don't know that free agency is going to be a big area for the Predators. I might be surprised, but I just don't see that much out there right now.
Okay, if
they've got the money.
If they were active, is there a player or two that you say that's somebody they're going after?
Not really. I don't think so. I haven't really looked that closely at it right now because it's just getting started. But I don't know that anyone really jumps out at me right now. They, like I've said forever, and Barry Trice is saying now too, they've never had a top line center, and if they could find that, that'd be great. But but those guys are going to cost a lot of money, and so that type of thing. Nashville's an attractive place to go. But there's just not. I mean, I don't know who they would go after from that standpoint. I think that's the big piece of the puzzle that he wants to find an answer for pretty soon.
Are you surprised they were not at all in the market for Taylor Hall?
Yeah, I was. I was. There was. I thought they might give him a shot. But there was also another player too that have been looking at Nashville, but they're not the number one center type of guys. But Nashville's become an attractive place to go. So a lot of free agents, a lot of guys are looking at Nashville from that standpoint. So it's not hard to. The city is not a problem for sure. So, it'll be. But I thought Taylor Hall might be something they might go after. I really did, but they didn't. So I was a little shocked. Yeah.
Kelly, say hello to Guy.
Guy, what's up? What I was going to ask you, and it's off the top of my head now, but all the things that you look at in the draft, you got all these mock drafts that go on, and everybody thinks they know where this guy's going, where this guy's going, where this guy's going. Did you think Matthew Wood and Tanner Molendijk, did you think those guys in the first 2 picks for the Predators?
They were on my list. But I did not have them both as the top ones for those slots. But they were my top 5. I did a top 5 for each one. I thought Oliver Moore would be the number 15 pick for the Predators. A lot of other people did too. I wasn't the only one that thought that. A lot of the mock drafts had him as being the guy they might pick, but they picked Matthew Wood. And he seems to be an impressive kid. Scored 34 points in 35 regular season games last year. Led the Connecticut team in points and shots from goal with 102. A lot of people think this guy, George was asking, could be back at immediate help. This guy's about as close as you're going to come to that. Because some people feel like he's got the highest ceiling of any person in the first round. He's got a lot of skill, and he's projected to be a top line power forward. So maybe he's going to be the guy they're looking for. But I think I know George is worried about this going back to school for another year. But I think he has to go back to school for another year, or at least not that. Then he's going to have to go to Milwaukee or whatever. But I think probably he's going to be better off going back to college for another year. And he said that last night that he planned to go back to Connecticut. So
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so while I was watching the draft last night, this is new to me. I don't know anything, but like all those kids look very young. I mean, is this something that like I think he's 18 years old, or it might be the most.
They all
I
are.
can't. Yeah, it's crazy. So did
They
they?
are.
Is that kind of a normal thing, Guy, for those guys to go back to school and to go to other places before they hook on with their NHL team? Is that
yes?
Modus operandi? I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, some will go back to college. Some of them go back to the junior teams for a while. They're the property of the team, but that they've got. I think the teams have 2 years to sign them. So they even though they've been drafted, there's 2 years there that you've got before you have to finalize a deal with the player as far as the entry level deal goes. So, but yeah, a lot of players go back. Most of these guys are 18. Some are 17. You don't find many older players anybody over in the 20s much or anything like that. It's mostly 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, that type of thing.
That's wild. So you don't think, George already asked you the question. So you don't think any of these guys can help the Predators this coming up season?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Wow.
Like I said, Matthew Wood's probably the closest one, but I don't think you want to rush a player. And I don't know whether Barry's philosophy has changed. So Barry always felt like that a player needed to play in Milwaukee for at least as much of a season as possible, because he felt like all good players come through Milwaukee, and that because of that experience, he's always believed that. So I don't know whether that's changed with him or not, but Wood would be the one that would be the closest to doing it. You never know what's going to go behind closed doors, what agents telling them, what the Predators are telling them. But I mean, he'd be the closest one, but you don't want to rush a kid in. Connor Bedard, yeah, he's going to play for the Blackhawks. He's ready to go. But there's not that many players that can make that kind of move immediately after they played. Immediately after they've been drafted. Most of these guys it's 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road before you really know what you got.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Everybody does this. So what do you, and I guess is the draft over now, fellas? I mean, I don't know. I know that we've got a bunch of names here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
218 names.
Yeah, what kind of grade do you give the Predators with Barry Trotz's first NHL draft? What do you give it?
I liked it. I thought that was pretty good. I thought the first two picks are great. Molendek, who Pecorine couldn't pronounce his name. I think I'm pronouncing it fairly close. Is a defenseman. First time they picked a defenseman in the first round since they picked Dante Fabro up in 2016. He's got a lot of offensive skills. He's a major skater. He's known for his speed and skill on the power play, which is Andrew Brunette's a big power play guy. So maybe he gets a look. Maybe he gets a look because he's a power play. Brunette's a power play guy. He puts the power play together greatly, better than most coaches do. So maybe he looks at it from that standpoint. He might be a possibility. I don't know. He would be going back to junior hockey, and so I think that he could be considered. A lot of it, if they go to development camp to see what they've got there, how they compete. I mean, you're competing against a whole different. Well, you talked about this the other day. You're competing against a whole different type of player from that standpoint. So, I mean, he could go back to Saskatoon and play in the Western Hockey League for another year, but he might be the one. He might be the one that makes the move more than Wood right now. So, one of those two, I think. The rest of them, no, I don't see the rest of them doing that at all. But they got some good players. They made some trades as far as draft pick situations, which I thought was interesting. Everybody thought they'd make a big trade for a player that could help them immediately. That didn't happen. So one player kind of intrigued me is a guy named Kalen Lind. He was the 46th pick. He's Barry Trotz's type of player. He's a left wing from Red Deer, Western Hockey League. He's a rough, gritty player. He's physical around the net, battles for rebounds. He's big on taking close shots. And Barry Trotz has always says he likes ugly goals. This guy scores, and he scores a lot of ugly goals. So I like. I want to see how he fits into the picture. in the next year or two. Because he really fits a lot of what Barry likes.
Guy, we got to run, but I can't thank you enough for all the coverage you've provided this week. I got a feeling.
Well, I appreciate
the
opportunity.
I got a feeling at some point that we're going to want to talk to you again next week, because I think it's going to get pretty busy.
Well, I just don't know about Preds' situation. I got to look at it, but I've been so into the draft the last few days. I haven't really looked at Preds that much, but I have been hearing people talk, and they don't expect it to be that big a deal. So it'd be interesting to see. So, but enjoyed it. Thanks for the opportunity to help out. I really appreciate it.
Guy, thank you. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Mark McGee joining us. Only time will tell what kind of draft this was and what it's going to be for the team down the road. After the break, we'll get stat of the day. Then Danny Evans is going to join us, and we're going to talk about a weekend in Cincinnati that I will not soon forget. Stay tuned.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports. And then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general. Baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in. It is time for Kelly Holcomb's favorite segment of the show. It is time for Saturday, presented to you by the good folks at John English Antique Sports and Cards, located in Shelbyville, Tennessee. 204 East Depot Street is where you can find them. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So give them a call at 931-492-4304. We got former Dodgers GM and baseball savant Dan Evans on deck circle, ready to go. I know he's been looking forward to this all week. He loves it when he gets to stump me. So here we go.
Did you say savant?
He is a savant, is he not?
Savant. Look at his reaction to it. He's like, I haven't been called a savant. Danny, how you doing?
I'm doing well, George. I've been called much worse in my life, sometimes publicly.
I believe it.
We got to talk about Georgia's Braves, Danny. They're red hot, to say the least. Going to go through the whole month of June without losing a series. How about that? Matt Olson's 26 home runs this season are the second most by a Braves player before the month of July. Can you name the only other Braves player with more home runs to this point of the season than Matt Olson?
You know, you're talking about former Braves?
Former Brave.
Okay.
Most home runs before July.
So, Danny, the answer is probably not Hank Aaron, because he never hit more than 47 in a season, which makes his record pretty amazing. The consistency. Can you name the only other Braves player? Good Lord.
Kelly, you out?
Now I'm just sitting here thinking about George going through all the analytics, and he has no clue.
I don't think it's Bob Horner or Dale Murphy. So, Danny, who is it?
I'm going to guess Eddie Matthews.
You know, I like that one. Let's just throw it up there and see what happens.
I got to remember which one of these is correct.
Oh, God.
I'm going to try this one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, same to you.
It's not Eddie Matthews.
Nice.
Okay, when I think
Biff Pocoroba.
Not a chance. It's definitely not him. Yeah, go ahead. Buzz him.
Oh, that felt good. That felt real good.
Chris Chambliss.
It's not Chambliss. Chambliss never hit that many homers.
1990.
1990.
He did it
Ronnie
the strike year, didn't he?
Let's go Ron Gant. Yeah, same to you.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Chipper?
I'm just going to go ahead and pass on you guys. I'm going to just go ahead and reveal.
Go ahead and put it up there.
It's the big cat.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Did he
I
really?
I don't think of him as a Bravo. That's on me.
Well,
he had 27 through June. I can check the year, but that's pretty amazing.
94, I bet.
Yeah, might have.
Wow.
Does that count? Does that count his playing with the Caracas Leones of the Venezuelan Winter League that year too?
I love it. So I guess we're now officially.
It was in 1998.
98. Wow. Okay. I guess we're now officially into Danny's segment. Danny, how are you?
I've lost my savant status and I'm devastated. And my dog is sitting here laughing at me. So I don't know what to do.
So you sent me something earlier today, and I didn't really know what it meant, so I'm going to take it. Doing some ESPN baseball as an analyst. Talk to me.
Yeah, George, Kelly, they've been pursuing me for a while, and I finally had a little time, and I'm doing some games for ESPN and ESPNU, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I did my first game about a week ago, a Northwoods League game, and doing another one this Sunday, and then I'm going to do some more later in the year. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Is this going to lead us into some Major League Baseball?
I don't know. Maybe, we're just, I think this is something I've thought about for a number of years, George, and my career kind of stood in the way. So, it's actually very fun to do the homework. It's a lot more fun to do a game when you don't have a lot of background on guys and you have to do some homework the day before, as you're well aware.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's something I'm pursuing and something I'm thinking about.
Good.
And I've got the okay from the people who matter. So I'm gonna sit back and listen a little bit. I just hope I do a better job than that Nashville reporter who interviewed Kyle Davidson on the Nashville streets on Broadway and didn't know he was the GM of the Blackhawks.
Oh, no, that's not good. So Kelly needs to know this. Kelly, Danny is a diehard Blackhawks fan, and they have helped themselves a ton. Playtime is over for, cramming it down the Blackhawks' throat. Not only have they gotten this kid, Connor Bedard, who everybody who knows a lot more hockey than I do says is the real deal, but they also got Taylor Hall in a great trade. I think that's really an underrated big move. Chicago's about to be really good again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming to Smashville and hanging out with you guys and watching a little hockey and not stopping watching in the middle of the second period.
I will pull up their schedule here in a few minutes and see when the Blackhawks are here.
So it's obvious you like their first pick.
Oh my gosh, Kelly, he's unbelievable. He's 17 years old, humble. I've seen him play about 4 times, and he's absolutely incredible. I mean, he finishes. He's got a chance to be one of the all-time greats. And get this, guys, the most humble thing, and George, you were probably there last night.
I was.
At the Bridgestone. When they interviewed him and asked him about his first game, it's against Sidney Crosby. His response was, well, I have to make the team first. And as somebody who's been doing personnel for 40 plus years, I love the answer. I just love the fact that he doesn't want anything handed to him. He wants to earn it. This kid is a bundle of talent.
Wow.
No kidding. So,
and George, what hat am I wearing? What hat do you think I'm wearing?
I was trying to figure that out.
Professional team. You've never seen them play. Ooh, that's a pretty good guess, George. It's the Montreal Royals. That was the hat that Jackie Robinson wore 1946 when he broke the color line in the minor leagues with the Montreal Royals, the Brooklyn Dodgers' top affiliate. In the following year, he broke the color barrier with the Brooklyn Dodgers. So it's just a fun replica hat. Enjoying it today.
Good for you. I love it. So, I was in Cincinnati last Friday. So this conversation happened around 1:00 in the afternoon. Jeff Francoeur says to me, so where are you sitting tonight? And I said, I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I said, it's always been easy to get tickets in Cincinnati. And Jeff says, got news for you. The series is sold out. Okay. So Danny, I don't know what the Reds did, and I'm sure they're not going to tell the truth. It looked to me like they sold about 3,000 standing room only tickets. It's the tightest regular season sellout I have ever been involved in. I looked over. I was right on the third base bag, about 20 rows up. I look over in the 7th inning on the first base side, and I cannot find one empty seat going all the way to the right field foul pole. There were 9 homers hit, 2 of which are still traveling. Votto's ball should have ended up in the river. Austin Riley's to left center is the deepest I've ever seen one hit there. That city is on fire, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and George, that ballpark is the most homer-friendly ballpark in the major leagues. It's not Coors Field. It's Cincinnati, and as a result, it's fun. It's a fun atmosphere, as you found out. People walk from downtown offices, and it's a really terrific ballpark. But George, that same night, I was watching Ohtani and Trout at Coors Field with a couple of fellow baseball savant buddies of mine, and we kept watching the pinball numbers on the scoreboard from Cincinnati. And I said to a buddy of mine, I said, my buddy George is at that game today, and I don't think he's gonna like this one unless the Bravos come out on top. And it was a really amazing game. But George, look at what happens when your minor league system times out as well as it has, and then you add De La Cruz, who is an absolute stud, to that team. He can do it all. He's a guy you watch. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, he's must watch TV. He's got an absolute howitzer for a right arm, switch hitter with power, blinding speed. I think he caps off a great rebuild by my buddy Nick Kroll. And now, they're sitting in first place. I mean, George, they're talking about being a buyer at the deadline. Unbelievable transformation of a franchise.
So help me with this part, because as I look at them, I'm saying to myself, okay, this is a very winnable division. The division's not very good. And the Reds have caught fire. The city's all over it, and rightfully so. And these young kids, I gotta be honest, Danny, I wasn't all that upset when the Braves lost Friday night. I was like, good for Cincinnati, good for the city. I see it energizing one of the great baseball cities. But their ownership now has to show me something. They need a starting pitcher. We both know it. Is their ownership going to go out and get it?
Bob Castellini's awesome. He's just an awesome guy. The Reds were part of the Field of Dreams game last year, so I got a chance to interact with a lot of the Red shareholders, ownership group. I have no doubt that Bob Castellini will go out and do what he needs to do. Nick Kroll is a terrific GM, and, like you said, George, I think 82, 83 wins this division. So I think where they are now, they're probably a 78 to 80 win team. They make a couple moves and they don't really destroy their farm system. They might have enough to beat out Milwaukee, and I think it would be a great story for baseball.
So let's go now to the totally opposite spectrum. My friend Buck Showalter seems to me to be in deep trouble. And I've sort of compared him a little bit to Peter Laviolette, law of diminishing returns. Early, it works really good. It appears Buck starts to wear on a clubhouse and things go south. I don't see how he can save his job in this thing.
Yeah, I watched Steve Cohen's press conference yesterday live, George. And, obviously they're a tremendous disappointment. Their payroll is at a record high in the upper 400s. And as a result, there's a lot of pressure to win. I don't think you can blame this on Buck. And I think people too often don't blame the players, but the players have underperformed. You take a look at that club going in, that team looked like they were on the upswing from last year's postseason. Alonso has certainly done his share, but they just have not performed. And I think, when you have the expectations that team had going in, it might end up with some changes at the end of the season. I think Buck has worn thin on some other clubs, but I don't necessarily know that that's the case in this situation, George. I think they're just a team that never figured it out this year. I look at the Padres, the same kind of situation, the Cardinals. The game is so quirky sometimes. It's so weird that clubs that you think are a really good team just can't put it together. Seattle, another example this year. But I think my guess is there will be changes at the end of the year. I don't see them making the postseason. I think their climb is far too great. And I think what he was trying to do yesterday in his press conference is try to settle down, the wagons circling the dugout and circling the front office and put the focus back on the field with wins and losses being the primary focus.
So, Danny, it's easy to say, okay, you've got two really high-priced guys in Max Scherzer and Verlander who have not pitched to what they have in the past. I'm not convinced in Scherzer's case it's anything close to he's done. I am starting to wonder a little more about Verlander. And I guess, number one, is he tradable given that hefty paycheck? And do you think there's slippage?
Wow. Couple of good questions right there, George. First of all, you always like to add guys who have been there, done that, because the pressure is so inordinate on them. The two of them can handle it. The two of them also, as their stuff declines, still have plus command. And what I mean by command is hitting the glove and the ability to throw quality strikes to locations, which in today's game is so imperative. So I think even if they slip, you're talking about a couple of great competitors. But here's the problem, George. They've got enormous contracts. And whereas you may be interested in taking a guy like that on for the last 3 months of the season, the 24 salary is so large that you might look at it and go, I just can't do it. The only way they may be able to move him is by paying all of their salary. And I saw yesterday where Cohen said he already figures that the salary's committed, it's already paid for. So I think then you obtain prospects. But I think it's going to be a very big challenge for Billy Upler to move one or both, just like it is for most GMs moving a pitcher or a player for that matter, who has an enormous contract for the following year.
Okay, I want to shift gears real quick, then we'll go to the break, and then you'll get good questions from Kelly. I'm told that Dale Murphy has been paid $250,000 to become sort of the public face of Salt Lake City's efforts. In a recent Yankee telecast, I heard Nashville by far in the East, Salt Lake City now in the West over Portland. The two other teams I heard in the East were Charlotte and Oklahoma City. Tell me what you think.
All good venues. I think Portland's an absolute gold mine ready to happen. I like Salt Lake City. I've been there quite a bit. I would pick personally Portland over Salt Lake City, but it's a vibrant community. Oklahoma City is supporting the heck out of their AAA club. Great ballpark. The city's been rebuilt. Oh man, that's a fun place to go see a baseball game. And I love Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to someday be a great venue. It was our AAA team with the White Sox for a number of years. I feel like I know it very well. Those are 5 really good options. Nashville's a great option, George. It's just a great option. It's not inferior to any of those situations. I think it's the total package that the city, its ownership, and it's I say it's the vibrancy of its package is what determines who gets a big league team. And there's no doubt that Nashville should be one of those final selections.
Okay, I think I'm done. I can't think of anything else right off the bat that I wanted to get to. So what we'll do is go to the break, and then Kelly will get you the intelligent questions. Mr. Baseball, and we'll see where he takes it, because he always goes somewhere really interesting that has me going, wow, interesting. So stay tuned. More with Danny Evans, who knows more baseball than the law allows. Hang with us.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links.
So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between. Discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700, send us a message at celestemiddleton.com, or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Okay, we're back. Danny, I have scoured the schedule as best I can. It looks like, first of all, the Blackhawks are in Nashville Saturday, November the 18th for a 1 o'clock game. And why can I not find the second visit? There it is. January the 2nd, which is a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So you figure it out. You let me know.
Georgie, I think I will come down and visit you.
No better way to spend it on New Year's Day, the following after. Come on to Nashville. Throw a party with us.
You're not wearing that jersey, though.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to be in Los Angeles on New Year's Day at the Rose Parade and the Rose Bowl. So
nice.
I haven't been back for a few years, and I kind of miss it.
So George, let me ask you this: if Danny does come to town, are you going to take him to Kane Prime or to Crystal? Which one?
I'd say somewhere in between, but leaning more toward Crystal. Let's put it this way: just like everybody else right now, there's a salary cap. It's a hard cap. I mean, if you go past it, you pay.
Oh, the food in your city is so great, guys. There are so many options. I love Nashville.
Tell that man to take you to Kane Prime, Danny.
You know what? If we're going to a steakhouse, it's the next door neighbors, Jimmy Kelly's.
Okay, Jimmy Kelly's. That's fine.
Yeah. But let me say this. Somebody asked me, have you been to such and such restaurant? And I said, is it nice? Oh, yeah. Well, then I haven't been. What do you got, Kelly?
Well, I don't know about intelligent questions. My first one, are the A's going to make the playoffs?
I would say along with the Rockies, the Royals, and I think probably the Nationals, that's a pretty safe no.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe no. I was being facetious with that question right there. It was I pitched a perfect game in Little League, and now the Oakland A's get a perfect game pitched on them. Just how hard is it? Because we were talking about it before the show. This young man that pitched that perfect game, the fourth in Yankees history, was not doing well at all until last night. And I can't imagine throwing a perfect game in the major leagues when you got so much talent and guys that can hit. And this young man did it.
Kelly, there's 24 perfect games in the history of Major League Baseball. That's it. The Yankees have won more World Series than there's been perfect games. There's a 1/100th of a chance of a perfect game occurring in a game you're at. So, it's pretty remarkable. It's the first one in like 11 years since King Felix did it in Seattle. It's an extraordinary accomplishment. A lot of quirky things have to go right for you, as you know, Cal. That scissor shot, that ball that barely gets out of the infield has to be caught. No walks. You have to have a good game from the umpire. Your fielders have to do a good job. Rizzo did a nice job saving a potential error from Donaldson. But this one's a little weird for me. I got to be honest with you guys. I always try to be very forthright about everything. The kid was nailed for domestic violence a couple of years ago. He got an 80-game suspension, and he was suspended earlier this year for 10 games for sticky stuff. So there's a part of me that I'm a little funky with him getting notoriety because I just don't feel good about people who do what he did. But what he did on the field was pretty amazing. I watched a lot of that ball game, and he was on, and to throw 99 pitches in a complete game is, honestly, Kelly, that's a remarkable performance.
Unbelievable. I just can't imagine. When I saw it, I was like, wow, I got one when I was in Little League, but it's amazing doing it at the highest level. So, okay.
Yeah. And Kelly, I saw your game on 30 for 30. It was a pretty darn good performance.
Which game was that?
Your perfect game.
Yeah, that's right. So my question is this. I've got to ask you this as a general manager. It goes back to the general manager deal. So it intrigues me. The trade deadline's coming up this August. And we talked about buyers, sellers, who's staying still. If you're a team, just take me through. If you're a team like, say, the Detroit Tigers, who's in the AL Central, who's kind of sitting there, who's in a bad division, who might have a shot. But if you're the general manager, to understand, hey, we got a shot to win this division, but we know that we can't win the whole thing. How does that play into your decisions about trading guys? How does that work into the equation, Danny?
What a terrific question, Kelly. We're on the same page. I was thinking about this morning. I wrote down 6 teams that are right around 500 or below, with a pace to win somewhere in the 70s, low 80s, who would never ordinarily be in the race. You take a look at Cleveland, Minnesota, Detroit, Milwaukee, the Cubs, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. All of them have a chance to win their Central Division. And candidly, they're not very good teams. Right. And Kelly, you bring something up that I always wrestled with. And that is, do we legitimately have a chance to go deep into the postseason? Because if you don't, I think you're kind of playing for show. And if you make a big, bold move and you give up too much for it, what are you really giving it up for? That's why I wouldn't make a little deal. But in this case, there's some teams that haven't won for a while. Detroit's one. Cincinnati's one. Pittsburgh is one. And I think in those cases, cosmetically, it's probably the right thing to do from a PR standpoint. It also invigorates the fan base, but it also gives that young nucleus that's in a spot they've never been before someone to look to. And that's why that individual you trade for, you got to be realistic in your expectations. And Kelly, they have to be somebody who's been there before, because otherwise you're putting on so much pressure on that individual. But I think, this is a conversation that you go down to the owner's office and I just go, Kelly, listen, we're in a chance to win 80-81. That might be enough. What's your thoughts? How important is it for us this year, in your mind as the owner, to go out and get in? The problem is this, Kelly. You're the 3rd seed. So right away, you got to play one of the wild card teams, even to advance into the league division series. So your odds are staggeringly bad against you. That's why I'd be very, very careful. Were I one of those clubs, I would be active, but I would not be punitive down the line, because I just don't think it makes as much sense as it is being prudent.
So let's take it a step further. How do you balance the players and the guys in the locker room? Like, say they're there and they know, hey, we just need this piece or that piece. And then the general manager understands the big picture and understands what all we need, and we can't do it with the group of guys. Even if we added some guys, how is there a balance with the players? Because the players, I can remember my agent a long time ago says, we can talk about all this, but players know. They know about what's going on. They have a bead on everything that happens in the clubhouse, in the locker room. So how do you keep that balance with the players when they think that you've maybe not done enough to get them over the top and kind of sold them out, or you've done too much where we knew, hey, we weren't going to make it that far anyway?
Boy, that is another good question, Kelly. And as a general manager, you lose some friends in the clubhouse at the trade deadline. You trade their friend, you replace a guy, you bump a guy's playing time, or you don't do what they think is enough. What I always tried to do, and it's a little different than most, but it was something I tried to do, Kelly. I found the veteran guys who gave a darn and were leaders and were very mature, non-emotional guys. And I'd take them out to breakfast or lunch and go, hey, Kelly, what do you think we need to do as a club? And I would confide in them and say, hey, how about this guy? How about this guy? And I'd get great feedback, but I would also get some nays where I would say, hey, he's not a good guy. I wouldn't want him in this clubhouse. Or, he's never really done it. I don't think he's the right guy to add. And then sometimes you'd hit the jackpot and they would go, hey, that guy would make a real big difference on our ball club. But here's the problem. And I think it's one of the biggest problems personnel guys make is when you overpromise and underdeliver at the deadline. I remember balancing on a teeter-totter almost in Los Angeles one year. I knew we weren't good enough to get in, and we had no farm system. We had nothing. So people were saying, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And all I kept saying was, we're going to look for ways to improve our ball club, but our farm system doesn't have the superiority of prospects to get the return we'd like to have. It's not a matter of taking on contracts. It's a matter of not being able to have players in place. But I had gone to some of my veteran guys before that, and I told them what was going on, and they were like, hey, it's going to be on us. When that happens, Kelly, you make some enemies in the clubhouse. And I had to work to repair a little bit of a relationship issue in some of those years. But at the same time, Kelly, you got to you're the only person as the general manager who has both the short and the long-term vision and responsibility for the club. The manager, his coaches, his field staff, it's about now. The players, now. The marketing people, now. The fans, now. But the problem is, you can't be now, or somebody else is going to inherit your good work. because you make deals that cost your team so much that you can't even compete, and suddenly you're out of a job yourself. It's one of the few times you have to be a little selfish and protect what you have while being prudent in your decision making.
Yeah, as my college coach said, it's the instant coffee generation. Everybody wants everything now, and you've got to do that. You've got to balance that as a general manager and weigh what's best for the team, always looking out for the team. And that just does not coincide with the fans, the players, the media, everybody else. That's a tough spot to be in, man. You were in it for a while.
Yeah, and you know what, Kelly, as a GM, as assistant GM, you go down in the clubhouse before, during, or after the game, and they're like, hey, what's going on? You're going to get so-and-so, because all they want to do is add.
Yeah.
And so you don't even have a shoulder to lean on in the clubhouse because, they're going, oh, sure, of course I would do that. Well, they probably haven't seen your prospects. They don't know the salary of the player coming back. And you're like, no, I'm not doing that. It's not happening.
Yeah. So with the trade deadline coming up, do you see any major trades? Do you see any teams that are going to be buying? Do you see any? What do you see with all that before the trade deadline? I know
with the additional play. Yeah, but you know what, Kelly? In the next month, we're going to see a lot of people show their cards. There's only about 5 or 6 teams right now that are truly out of it, and they're really bad teams. And they started the season with no chance. So think about this. Why are they so bad? Because their players are bad.
Right.
So as a result, those teams are teams you really can't graze. You really can't cherry pick them because except for an exception here or there, they're just bad teams with bad players. And Kelly, they're bad teams who haven't won for a while. You don't want to throw a guy into the fire who has never been in a postseason run. I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on a guy. So here we've probably got 6 to 8 teams on the bubble that are waiting for the next 6 weeks to play out, thinking, hey, I might sell, I might buy, or Kelly, I might just stand pat and play it out and see what's going on. This time of the year, a lot of the BS, I call it media BS, GM speak, starts to filter into truth serum. Because you're telling people one thing, but on the other hand, you got to be really careful because you're not going to add, you don't have the players to do it, and you probably don't have the talent to do it either. It's a very difficult time to kind of balance not only expectations, but your media presence has got to be carefully strategized because, in the next 5-6 weeks, I mean, look, the Braves I think they've won 13 of the last 14 games. If they hadn't played that well, with the way the Marlins are playing, the Marlins would be right there with them.
Right.
And Alex Anthopoulos would have a different mindset right now. So it's really about you playing well and then seeing where you are. And Kelly, it's so hard because your gut's telling you, of course, you want to compete, you want to get in. But sometimes you look at your team and you just go, there's absolutely no way this club's going to get in. Right. And I did that. I remember doing that once with the White Sox going, there's absolutely no way we get in. It's not going to happen.
So let me take it to the Braves for just a second to end this. Is it down to Alex Anthopoulos having to say to himself, we're one starting pitcher short of truly being able to win a world title again, because they are good enough. Their everyday lineup, who's kidding who? It's a world title kind of deal.
Totally. Right.
Is it down to we've got to find out what Soroka can give us, and if he can't, then we got to go get somebody at the deadline?
Yeah, and how is Max? What's Max going to be looking like? George, you're right. Their offense is elite. But offense rarely wins you a World Series title. Your pitching and your defense usually take you through the month of October and November. Kelly, it's just like football. You can't score your way to the Super Bowl. You usually have to defend and score. So I think, George, what you have here is a franchise who has a goal and expectation that are lofty. And very few teams go into the season with that idea that we are in this to win the World Series. The Dodgers are also in it to win the World Series. So in your own league, you got to get by that team to get in. Right now, I think they're a little better than the Dodgers, but who knows what the next 2.5 months look like. So I think, George, what you have here is Alex going to ownership saying, hey, if our goal as a franchise on and off the field is to try to win this, I probably need another arm. I might need another bullpen guy, and I've got the players in my minor league system to go after it. Are you okay with that? One thing's for sure, this guy's one of the best GMs in the game. And George, you know this as well as anybody. He has reality glasses on all the time. I mean, the moves he made a couple years ago were extraordinary.
He won the World Series.
He did. And you know what he did, George? He looked and he saw flaws in their club and repaired it. And it's not like they have a flat tire where it's obvious. And, you know, Kelly, in baseball, a lot of your third, fourth, fifth starters, people don't even notice that they're struggling. But as a GM, you look at it and you go, there's no way I can win a 7-game series with that guy pitching 2 games. I can't do it. And you never want to say that publicly because that guy's on your club the following year. But internally, you're looking in the mirror going, I built a good club, but it's not good enough. What can I do to make it a little bit better?
Amen. That's the gospel according to Danny Evans.
It's
pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Danny, thank you as always.
Have fun, guys. And what happened on this day, 123 or 118 years ago?
1905.
George, you had a press pass. Come on now. I know you were there. Give me a break.
What happened on this? I don't know.
Moonlight Graham, Archibald Moonlight Graham,
Okay.
played his lone game in the big leagues as a defensive replacement for the New York Giants, didn't get his at-bat, and hence a movie called Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams,
surfaced.
baby.
Wow.
And Graham never got an at-bat in his big league career.
Wow.
Well done.
That's nice.
That is very nice. Danny, see you next week.
Have a great one, guys. See
Have
ya.
a happy 4th. Okay, we'll go to the break. We'll have the Plaster bet of the day, and then we'll review what we released earlier today that has a lot of you getting your tickets already because it's going to be a great sports speaker series. Stick around.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service. Growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals, who share the founders' passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at bairdifference.com.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Welcome back in. Final segment on a Thursday. Plaster's Better Today, presented to you by Bart Durham Injury Law Firm. They are, simply put, the best in the business. They are lawyers you can trust. So give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. Last night for George, it was a tough one. He went with the Metropolitans, and they keep on sliding. Brooker got it done last night against the Mets.
Mets have got big problems, and ultimately Buck Showalter is going to walk the plank if this doesn't change dramatically. Maybe before that happens, given what the owner said last night, Justin Verlander, I think they're going to try hard to move. I'll be interested to see how that plays out. I do think they keep Max Scherzer, but I can tell you this, I'm not betting the Mets tonight. Not a chance.
Why not?
Because I want to win. So, Kelly, this is, I'll explain where I'm going on this one. Let's punch it up there. It is the Dodgers. It's an easy pick, you would think, on the road at Colorado. Colorado won last night. There's no way they take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. I'm not buying it. The Dodgers right now are not anywhere close to the Braves. They've got bullpen issues that are huge. If you look, the Dodgers are in 3rd place in the National League West. Now, they're one sneeze away from jumping over San Francisco and Arizona, but the fact of it is the Dodgers are struggling. So this is, while I think it's going to work, it's a little dangerous in that the Dodgers are not playing like they did a year ago when they were damn near automatic.
Let's go Rockies.
Nice. Thanks for your teamwork, your sportsmanship. Yeah. Good. Dodgers, I hope they hit them with a 6 spot in the first. Get you out of your misery. Now, let's go back to what we released earlier today. The 3rd installment of our Sports Speaker series is going to be a doozy. Southeastern Conference Football Media Days begin Monday, July the 17th. The night before, we have put a panel together of what I'll call College Football Legends Night. Philip Fulmer, former national title winner, University of Tennessee. Watson Brown, co-host of this show, UAB and Vandy, former coach. David Cutcliffe, former coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, later did a great job at Duke. And then Tony Barnhart, who I believe is the single foremost authority when it comes to Southern college football. They will all be here at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue Sunday night, July the 16th. We'll do it at 5 o'clock. Get everybody out early. First of all, it's a free event, but if you want to order dinner, that's up to you. You can do it or you cannot do it. But to make a reservation, and I can tell you that the response to this has already been overwhelming. People are really jumping in on this one, and they should. It's a great lineup. Just simply email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com, and tell me whether you need 1 seat, 4 seats, whatever. We'll get it done for you. But I will tell you this. If you wait till the last minute, you might get shut out.
It's impressive, George. Impressive. It really is. You've done yeoman's work on that one. That'll be good. That'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Kelly, thank you. I know you've got tomorrow off. We will see you again on Monday.
Lord willing, man. Appreciate it. See you.
See all of you tomorrow, even without Kelly, here on the George Plaster Show. So long, everybody.